Hello, hello, hello. I am so glad to be here today. My guest, Vickie Lowenberger, has been detained, so she won't be with us today, I don't think, unless she can make it. I do hope she does. But right now, it looks like she is not able to join us right away. So I want to go ahead and talk about this topic of how do we make happiness sustainable. So this is a really important topic in building a joyful life, right? Because everybody can get happy, most people can get happy, right? Under many circumstances. But it's really just a mood. It's a very small portion of our day or our week or our life, right? And we want to make sure that happiness isn't just a mood, joy isn't just a mood, but it becomes really like our hometown. It's where we go to rest, right? It's where we go when life doesn't have its hands on us. This is the place we go to happiness and joy. And that is how you make it sustainable. So let's talk about how to do that. Thank you again for being here today with me on this broadcast. And I want to first just remind people that there is a way to get in touch with me. So first things first, anytime you want to go to donnalynn.blog and you will find everything that I've got going on at the moment right there. And also, I will say here we go. You can go take the joy quiz right now or in your spare time. I'm going to turn this onto silent. Wouldn't that be really kind of me? Kind to me and to you so that we have some private time together. So you can always go to Roadmap to More Joy and take the joy quiz. Now, in a minute, we're going to talk a little bit about why you would do any of that, right? So this idea of sustainable happiness is really interesting to me. I like it because I like thinking about it this way because when we think about it this way, then the stories of our lives start to make some sense. So you may already know, or maybe you don't. I like to think of the emotions as a roadmap, right? If you lay your emotions out on a roadmap as if they are towns, then you get a better sense of how there is distance between anger and joyfulness, or there is very little distance, right? Less distance between anger and rage than between anger and deeply satisfied, right? And also, you get the sense that when you live in a town or you spend a lot of time in a town, I'm sure you've had this happen in your life where you go to a town, you spend a lot of time in it, whether it's your hometown or not, you know it really well. It has a lot of detail in your mind, right? You know where to go to get to a package store or a convenience store, and you know where to go get gas, and you know where the most fun things are to do, and you know where people live, and right? So it's really detailed. It's fleshed out in your mind. And that's a really useful way to think of our emotions. If we have set up camp and made anger our hometown, then it has a lot of detail. We've visited it a lot. I will say that our television series don't help us here, right? Because everybody wants to talk about murder and not too many people want to listen to how good married life can be or something like that, right? So these are the ways that we really create a joyful life. We spend more time in those emotions that are in the space of what I call above the line, right? They're in the space of rest, relaxation, contentment, satisfaction, hope, real sweetness, right? You could be in excitement, you could be in joy, you could be in happiness. Well, the way we flesh those towns out is that we set up camp there and we see what's there, and it becomes more and more and more detailed for us in that space. So I'm going to give you an example. I spend a lot of time in over my lifetime in what I call emotional entrainment, right? I practice feeling good. I like feeling good. I watch things on TV, I read books, they all make me feel good. That's the objective is will this be fun for me? Will this make me feel good? Or will it make me feel worried and scared and then better? And so it feels kind of like I feel good, but really I only feel good because I went through the ringer, right? So I spend a lot of time in over my many years doing this work in emotional entrainment. So this is to feel good on purpose. There are specific ways that you can do it, but it's really important to do it to the best of your ability. So if you never work with me, you can still do this, right? It's probably easier if you work with me. But if you never work with me, you can still do this. You can feel good on purpose. You can take the trip in your mind and say, right now, not feeling so good. I'm going to set aside some time to go within, to find something better, to think a better thought, to find a better way in my life, to say, hey, my kitchen's dirty. I wonder how I could feel better about that. Oh, I can't feel better about that because I don't want to clean it. So, what can I feel better about? And be willing to go there. So, that's the first thing, right? To be aware of yourself and then to be willing to practice. And I did that for a long time. And I'll tell you what happens when trauma happens in my life. This is important because I'm just like you, right? I have a life that has ups and downs, and I've been married, I've been widowed, I've been through all the things that lots and lots of people go through, right? I've had jobs, I've lost jobs, I've had jobs, I've moved on from jobs, I've had my own businesses, right? So there's just lots and lots of juicy situations in life that can really make you think there's not a lot to feel good about, right? But if you practice and you practice and you practice, what happens during trauma is that it becomes your hometown. So I'll tell you, I did not realize this really in this significant way until I was in a giant portal of change with my late husband, right? He was alive. He had been diagnosed with something awful. And we were going step by step by step through those moments. And the really magical part of that is that I got to be there for them without the worry of the future and without the regret of the past because I had practiced. I know how to live in Happy Town or Joyville, right? And so when those moments came along, I was able to be fully present and to be in that moment. And so we went through that period of his living, and then we went through the period of his dying, and then I went through a period of moving, right? These are all giant stressors, right? But every day I went back to my t-shirt that said best day ever. And I reminded myself that that's my intention. My intention is always to have the best time I can be having at any given moment. And that doesn't mean I don't feel sad or I don't feel lonely or I don't feel angry, right? It doesn't mean any of that. I feel all of those things. I have a very full life and I'm so grateful for that. But I don't have to live in it forever, right? I'm not in loss all the time. I'm in life all the time. And sometimes I visit those towns. So recently, another trauma in my life, right? An emergency room visit for a loved one. And it was stressful, right? Because emergency rooms are stressful. They're life and death kind of places. And again, because I practiced this, I was able to walk through that in a way where I'm not fully exhausted. I'm not ready to take a big old vacation. I am eager for my life. I'm ready for whatever's next. I know that I'm in a portal of change and I don't know what's on the other end of it. And so you have to be willing to be in the unknown and to be comfortable in the unknown, or at least willing to stay in the unknown in order to really find sustainable happiness. And the other part of that, I really want to talk about that willingness for a second, because the other piece of that is that willingness is something that we don't think about, but we need it as a very first unlocking mechanism, right? We have to be willing to unlock from what we think it means to be sad. Sometimes we think that means we care about someone. Sometimes we think loneliness means that we are acknowledging the love that we had in the past, right? But if we're willing to really just disengage from the really bad feelings and live in those really good feelings, then when those moments come along that take us into sadness, worry, regret, any of the feelings that don't feel good, it's okay. It's okay. We move through them. We move through them. They happen. They're a part of our lives that we can actually, in some ways, enjoy. I'm going to give you an example. Bonnie Raitt just won another Grammy, and 3 Grammys, I think. And I adore Bonnie Raitt. I just adore her. My whole life, I have listened to her music, and I think she is amazing, a hero in my life, right? And so I hadn't heard the song. My brother sent it to me, and I listened to it, and I got sad, right? Because it was about somebody having given up a heart and the people who were still alive meeting. And it's a beautiful song. You should definitely go and listen to it. But it reminded me of my husband's passing and the donations that we made with his passing. And I thought, oh, this is sadness, right? This is missing somebody. But it can move through, and it doesn't have to take a hold of you. So I got to have that moment, which is just as juicy as happy, right? And I got to move through it and be in the next moment where I may be thinking about him, but I wasn't. I was thinking about, should I be doing this or that in my house? And how can I move forward in this living time, right? So these are all things to really consider about your life. How are you handling the little moments of your life? And if you'd like to get that roadmap to really find out where am I on it, go to Roadmap to More Joy so that you can find out. It tells you everything that you need to know. It lands you in a spot on the earth and talks about that city and how I felt in that city and how you might be feeling in that city, and what you can do to get from where you are to where you're going. So I want to say, before I was able to practice this, before I really decided that this was an important thing for me to spend my moments in those passive moments we have when we're washing the dishes or vacuuming the house, or other passive moments that we have driving a car sometimes. Pay attention. That before that, then I really did get stuck often in a feeling, and I fleshed it out with my mind. And so often I would feel unsatisfied. Often I would feel overwhelmed. Often I would feel irritated and frustrated. But now I don't have to. I can feel, and instead of feeling frustrated, I can feel ready. And instead of feeling overwhelmed, I can know I have support within myself and within the world that I've built around me. So if you're looking for those comfortable feelings and you want to bring more of that into your life, that is how you can build happiness that is sustainable. Okay, so thank you for being here with me today. I do love talking to you guys, and I hope that you will go ahead and take the roadmap to more joy.com quiz so that it's 2 minute quiz. It's barely, you do it in 2 minutes. Like it's 11 questions and it's fun. It's got pictures. I like pictures. Um, and really find out where you are. And don't just self-assess because self-assessing can be a little bit tricky, right? And I look forward to seeing you after you've taken the quiz. Okay, see you soon.